A lot of times in elementary school we did like personal reading, and so for 30 minutes of the class they would have us go and we could sit wherever we wanted to in the classroom. We would bring our books, but we always had to have a book no matter what, and we could just sit wherever we wanted to and read. And it was mostly at the end of the day, so a lot of times I was tired, and so by that point I didn't want to read. And so I would just sit there holding the book, staring at the page, blankly, not thinking about anything, just staring. And I would kind of be observant of what was going on around it. When the teacher would come by, I would turn a page. But I never actually read the book. So I always had books, I just never read them.
I had the same situation like Victoria. She would make us read like a chapter of a book in the classroom, and we would go off and like do our own thing, but I would just sit there and just stare at it because I couldn't comprehend any of the words. I was so confused. And then like she would come by and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm almost done." But I really wasn't. I didn't even start it because it was just so hard for me.
I would usually start reading the book and get through 4 or 5, maybe even 6 pages. But at that point, I would be exhausted, I would be tired, and I would look at the clock and the time would almost be up.
In my seventh grade language arts class, the teacher did a lot of reading out loud, and she read very quickly, and it was hard for me to keep up with her, so I was always skipping paragraphs because I was reading at my own speed, but she was reading faster, so I had to catch up with her, and I had to keep doing that over and over, so I missed a lot of the book, so it was harder for me to understand what was happening.
Last year in 2nd grade, we had to group read, and every kid in the class but me would read at the same pace, but I kept tripping up on big words, and then they'd be a whole page ahead of me, and it got really hard and frustrating, and I didn't like it very much.
I think audiobooks would help me because I could have, instead of being with the whole class and having to keep up with the whole class, I could have maybe sat outside or gone to the library and read at my own speed, so I would have understood it better and comprehended it better because I was just lost during that whole class. So I think that could have helped me a lot.
I think if I had an audio book in class with me at reading time, it would help me a lot more because when I'm reading a book without the audio book, I get tripped up and it's hard for me to understand the book like I understand the book with audiobooks more, and I think it's easier with audio.
For me, yes, I am more prepared when I'm using my audiobooks because, like, for example, we're reading Huckleberry Finn right now, and listening to it like the night before, and then going into the classroom discussion, because we do a lot of discussions on book, is really, really helpful because I know, this is what this guy said, or this is what happened in the book, this is the significance. And so it really, really helps me to understand the book more and the discussion that we have in class.
I think that being able to listen to an audiobook before I walk into class and have those discussions is essential for me because I am a very high comprehender, but I am a very slow reader, so when I'm reading along, I'm so focused and I'm putting so much energy into reading the words, I am not understanding what's happening.
Independence is really important, but it's something that's kind of hard to come by because not every person is the same for it. And so audiobooks for dyslexic kids is something that really helps with it because we want to be able to be like the other kids and do our homework by ourselves and not have to ask our parents, how do you spell this? What's this sentence? What does this word mean? Every 5 seconds, so that they're constantly doing homework with us. We want to be able to do it by ourselves because part of it, being a kid, is wanting to grow up. And so that's a big part of it that we would miss out on if we didn't have audiobooks.